you can tell when your car battery's dying. But with your water heater, you'll never know until it starts leaking. Before you buy another tank, consider a Navien tankless water heater. No storage tank to heat or leak. Lower energy bills and endless hot water for spa-like comfort. All backed by Navien's strong warranty. If your water heater is over 8 years old, it's time to check out Navien at tanklessmadesimple.com.
Count on Navien.
The ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz are some of the most iconic objects in Hollywood history. And in the summer of 2005, a pair was stolen from the Judy Garland Museum in the small town of Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
All she said was, "They're gone. They're gone."
Welcome to No Place Like Home, a documentary podcast series that investigates the mysterious heist of the ruby slippers. Please listen and follow No Place Like Home, a presentation of C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio, available now on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Ola, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to season 15 and episode number 3,305. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. And you are in the Men's Room. On tap today, we will have the results of what the next Men's Room beer should be. The exciting return of Ted versus the FCC.
Oh, look at you.
We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, Men's Room Shout of the Day, funnable listener emails, and everyone's favorite, TV Time with Ted.
Clack, clack. Drinking to drunk.
All right, here we go. Florida man tries to escape from cops by cartwheeling away. Meanwhile, Texas decides with COVID and all, the Testicle Festival will still have its day, which is kind of nuts. In Berlin, bondage studios are back as long as you wear a mask or a gag ball. Alaska man caught after removing dozens of storm drains causing people to fall. And survey says eating McDonald's without your partner, that is the same as cheating. And that is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, I think we can all agree that money is important. And yeah, sure, it's the root of all evil and all that. But everyone needs it, and that is precisely why we need a job. Now, we have a list of the most ridiculous reasons people have been rejected for jobs. I would advise that you come for the guy that showed up to an interview with no shirt on, stay for the man who forgot to take the pins out of his new shirt and started bleeding. Neither of them were hired, by the way. On the other hand, a woman in Texas, she just quit her job as an optician, which pays on average anywhere from $45 to $72 grand a year. But she quit because she can make 6 figures a month acting like a dog online. And before you ask, yes, she does it naked, but still. And I wish I was making that up, but I'm not. But the real money is in athletics. Baseball legend Babe Ruth, he was making $80,000 a year back in 1930. Put that in perspective, in today's money, Babe would be making over $40 million. Hell, Cy Young, that's the man that the pitching award is named after. He made $3,000 a year back in 1901. Today, he'd be worth over $35 million. That said, most of us don't possess the physical skills to get that kind of money, nor the desire to act like a dog online to satisfy other people's fetishes. But we've all made money doing things people might not expect. It doesn't mean it was good. It doesn't mean it was bad. Just most people wouldn't have guessed that about you. So today we ask you to share by filling in the blanks of our Men's Room Blank question. Good or bad, one time I made blank doing blank.
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
Dad, I've actually found learning at home has been better than I thought. And I feel I'm much farther ahead than many of my friends.
You know, we really noticed this. And your mom and I have been thinking how we can make this work. We looked at Laurel Springs School, who offer a personalized approach to learning where you can revisit material on your schedule.
Wow, Dad, that sounds great. I've just been to Laurel Springs School's website. You know, they have classes in all kinds of subjects and a real focus on getting me ready for college.
Yes, it's an online school with great teachers who are there for you. It's a more personalized approach to learning.
Visit laurelsprings.com to learn more about a unique way of getting your child the personalized education they need. For 30 years, Laurel Springs School has been engaging global learners in grades kindergarten through 12th grade and integrating their passions and pursuits. Laurel Springs School. We build an education around you.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
Back to the conversation. This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Oh no, Malcolm, the conversation is just beginning. All the Charles, and away we go. Welcome to Season 15, Episode number 3,305. What a large and charged program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat as we have made it to the weekend here at Camp Diggett. What a large and in charge program we have. The exciting return today of Ted versus the FCC. Long night last night, but we came through for you. And we've got a new Ted versus the FCC on the way. And today we're going to talk about jobs. And sometimes these jobs are like legal jobs. And sometimes they're not. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you get paid to do something, you get paid to do something one way or another.
Sure.
And some jobs are better than others. Some jobs absolutely suck. But as far as the job is concerned, what the details are of the job and how much you get paid, that's the important part of what you're doing.
That's generally why you take the job.
And we were talking just about the fact that we had some pretty crappy low-paying jobs, as most people do when you're starting out doing whatever you're doing. At one point in time, this is 1990. I am 20 years old, and basically every job that I've had has been a part-time job where I've made probably between, I think my first job was $3.25 an hour, and maybe at this point in time I'm making $5.
All right.
$5.15 or something crazy like that.
No offense. My first job, I got paid $5 an hour. Yeah.
That is big time. But lo and behold, just like this year, who comes around but the United States Census Bureau? Mm-hmm. All right, the United States Census Bureau, they are paying a federal hourly wage. So it's the same wage in West Virginia as it is working as a census member in New York City.
Right.
There's no difference. So the pay was like $15 an hour. This is incredible. This is incredible. So
it's how you're eating all that great pop.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's a good point. You finally figured it out.
We could not believe. I mean, we all sat in this training meeting, and we're all looking around at each other like, oh, my. And basically what we were required to do was a number of homes per day. So it wasn't that you went out for 8 hours and actually you basically had 15 homes that you needed to go to.
All right.
If you got that done in 4 hours, you still got paid 8 hours.
What do they have to train you to do? Isn't there just a series of questions that are printed on paper that you read and repeat?
There were different types of census questionnaires. There was a long form and a short form.
All right.
So most of the time what ended up happening was there would be someone who would not respond.
Sure.
You needed to still go there and get that information. Sometimes you were on a gravel road driving in the middle of nowhere, where the property is a mile up, and people had tried to get in there before. By the time you get up to the top, there's a gate, there's a beware of the dog. People try to get in contact with these people, and you set up appointments, and you go and you do these things. Well,
beware of sun.
Mm-hmm, in the training thing. There's this guy that I know, and we're going to pair up. But I think his name was Ron or Paul, something I can't remember. But anyway,
Paul, huh?
He was 43, 44 years old, and he just quit his job to take this job with the Census Bureau because he was making like $6 an hour, managing a sub place. I can't remember what he was doing exactly, but this, and we're just sitting there and we're listening to this, man, and it's the amount of pay we're going to get for this week is insane. And we go out on our first assignment. So me and this guy head out. Keep in mind, I'm 20 years old. He's in his mid-40s. Mm-hmm. He's got, like, kids my age. You know what I mean? Like, he really does.
Right.
He's married and that whole deal. We get in the car. We start driving along. And he's talking about the job. He's like, man, I've never made this much money per hour in my life. He's like, man, I quit my job. We're going to do this. And I think the job was in total for about 6 months, maybe 8 months or whatever. And he's like, man, and you only got to work 6-8 months out of the year. He's like, I might just do this job for the rest of my life. I'm going to do this next year too. And I looked at him, and he's driving, and I'm like, hey, man, they only do the census once every 10 years, right?
All right, I was about to ask, why did he quit his job?
I don't know. And
that's what he's asking himself now.
And I'm like, oh, my God. And keep in mind, there was a lot of weirdness to this
He's
job.
ready to retire at this point.
What is his response when you hit him with
the golden ticket? He just kind of looked forward. He's like, oh, yeah, I didn't really think of that. I mean, but I was just like looking at this guy like you're a dad and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like you should know that. Like, I know this.
You quit your job for this, man.
You can get your job back, right, at Blimpies or whatever it was. Yeah, right. But he was like,
I hope you didn't say that.
That was
it's all right, man. You can get your gig back at Blimpies.
Yeah, right. Like he wasn't even Sheets level?
No, he was like a manager at a sub shop. But either way, I mean, we did get to go there and get subs at lunch, which was great.
Yeah.
And the experience of that.
I used to enjoy Blimpies.
I did too. The subs were great. And man, trust me, he got the hookup. You know what I mean? We weren't paying that much money.
He'll be fine.
He used to be the manager there.
He'll be fine.
Don't worry about the census gig, dude.
He walked
you
off.
get Blimpie
he
subs
walked
for life.
off. But man, I'm telling you what, it was crazy to go in someone's home and sit there and talk to them. And some people didn't want you to leave. Some people fed you lunch.
Who doesn't want a stranger to leave their home?
An old woman in her 70s who lives by herself on property who never has anybody come and visit. She wants to feed you. She wants to talk to you about your family. She probably knows somebody in your family. You probably have friends together. We're all in the same county together. There's some link one way or another where she just doesn't want you to leave.
How do you excuse yourself?
Could you do me a favor and help me get behind my washing machine? Whatever the hell needed to be done.
How do you get out of there? What is your final? Because obviously here's some sweet old lady. You understand her situation. Yep. She's a nice young man. You're working hard. You're doing your thing. All you're thinking is like, I really want to go. How do I let this broad down, right? Without being a D?
Because I need to get these homes in.
Yeah, I get it.
Just because I want to be done by 1. I want to be done by noon.
So what do you tell her? Like,
you get out of there nicely. You know what I mean? Most of the time, you do your
most of the time.
I mean, look, like any, and then some people seriously will just come out on their porch with a shotgun. I had that happen once. Guy came out with a shotgun and cocked it. And I said, man, I just got to ask you a couple questions. I'm from the Census Bureau. I had my badge, had all my stuff. You know what I mean? He's like, you just stay right there. What's your questions? So I just filled out the thing for him, man, and, by hand. And
I like how he operates, though. Like, you're going to fill this out for me?
Yeah, I'm going to fill it out for you.
I will attest. Like, when I did door-to-door sales for a little bit, and Miles is right. Some people are just, they're happy to see you. And they'll invite you in and then chit-chat. Like, to the point where, like, eventually you got to be like, listen, I got to go. Or, because it was door-to-door sales, like, if I already made some sales, like, one time I basically talked myself into watching a game with a dude.
Yeah. I mean, honest
like,
to God.
yeah, man, you want to hang out for a minute? I was like, actually, I do. It was like a Saturday. I was like, I already sold, like, I made $50. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. It just depends on the situation. Well, a woman quit her job and now makes 6 figures a month. A 21-year-old woman named Jenna Phillips. She lives in Austin, Texas. And she recently quit her job as an optician because she found that men were paying her up to 6 figures a month for videos of her acting like a dog.
Oh.
I'm glad she's putting my money to good use.
Apparently, that's a fetish with a lot of fans. Jenna has an account on OnlyFans where she charges $20 a month for videos of her chasing balls. She gets walked on a leash. She rolls around and rubs her back. And she takes baths. And she's naked.
Does she get mad in the bath like a real dog? Does she stare at the camera like you've just done the worst thing in the world?
She also makes $1,200 for custom videos.
She poop in the yard.
Then picks it up with a bag.
Does she lick her own butt?
Oh, man.
Does she just kind of lay on the sofa and lick lazily at her own butt, making a horrible sound?
Jenna's on pace to clear more than $1 million this year. Just so you know.
So wait a minute. She can make $1 million.
She's going to clear. She's going to make more than $1 million.
Because you get naked and act like a dog.
Bring home after taxes more than $1 million.
So here's my thing about having a fetish. It seems to me, right? Like I can go to roughly any porn site. I'm good with the offerings that they have, all right? And I'm happy about that. And I don't care what your fetish is. It doesn't matter to me, but it seems like when you have a real fetish, it costs a lot of money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to see a woman naked who will act like a dog for you, that costs you money. If you just want to see a hot chick have sex, like it's free.
Here she is with a ball in her mouth. Just so you know, at a tennis ball. And there's the lovely Jenna.
I mean, all right.
That's what she does. I'm just saying. Look,
that's what I mean. A fetish is expensive. That's the problem with
the fetish. Only $20 a month to be in her club.
But it's free for me because I don't need that. Look, if you need that, good for you. I just feel bad for you because you have to spend the money to see it.
I'm going to get into like fetish stuff.
Want to get like what? What fetish do you want to get into?
I'll start making bear videos.
Oh, you mean you want to make videos for people?
Yes. Would you get a mill?
Would you do what she's doing? Would you
in a second
naked, acting like a dog? I mean, these pictures
fully naked.
Yes, well, that's what she does.
That's what naked is.
These pictures.
All right, sure. If you're coming to see me naked, then obviously you have an odd fetish.
You have to,
but you have something specific.
But wait. Now she is going to clear $1 million a year. The question is. She looks like that. You look like you. What if you get 100 followers, so you're getting $2,000 a month? You know what I'm saying?
So it's that $24,000 a year?
Yeah. So you'd supplement your income. You're not going to live. So, but is it still worth? I'm saying, what is your dollar amount to get naked and act like a dog? How much money do you need to clear a month? Because she is making 6 figures. I'm naked. And I'm chasing balls around and all that stuff because I'm making $1 million a year.
She is chasing balls in the yard there.
But for $24,000 a year, I'm not doing it. Right, like, what's your dollar?
I'm with you. I'm not doing that for $24,000.
I would do
80. How about $80,000?
80.
It's $80,000 a
year. This is $1 million to do this.
No, that's her.
I know.
That is her. I'm saying for you. Ted said, "Yeah, I'll do it." But it's like, right, for $1 million, sure. Because think about it's an additional. Like you still have your regular job, right? And then you have another $80,000 a year. All you got to do is go home, get naked, and act like you're a dog. And you made $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
All right.
I might be
Would people know it's me? Will they see my face?
No, I wouldn't even. You don't even have to do that. I mean, you got to wear a mask. People that recognize you would recognize you. Like, man, that dude looks like Ted. Right? I mean, but I feel like $80,000, you're supplementing your income.
That's a lot.
That'd be great.
What do you do to make extra money? I get naked. And I act like a dog.
When I sold Cokes as a vendor, I made $2 a tray.
Right.
If I sold 15 trays of Cokes, which was a lot.
Sure.
Those things are heavy. You got to walk up and down steps, man. It's a ball buster. That's $30. That's before they took out taxes.
So what did you end up with? Like $18, $20?
I mean, if we were playing some crappy team like Temple, I'd get like, $20. But if we were playing, Penn State or something, I could make like, 50, 60.
See, the money isn't getting naked and acting like a dog.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Being a Coke vendor. Yeah, totally. Our question, good or bad, one time I made blank doing blank, 206-421-ROCK.
A couple of comments real quick. It says, this is more of a dare, but I made $3 from coworkers on a dare for licking a computer keyboard while moving equipment at Boeing. And someone else says, oh, my God, please tell Ted Bear Videos already has a specific distinction in the gay community. They would probably like him, though.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
There's a lot of competition.
Right. Like, I'm not going to, how should I phrase this? I wouldn't prostitute my body.
Right, but you're just being naked chasing balls, right?
But yeah, on film, sure. I'll be the beariest bear you've seen.
Well, I mean,
I'll wear a bear jacket on top of my naked bear skin.
Okay. Well, is bear meaning more hairy or just more of a bigger guy?
Hairy.
So it's both. Because
Okay,
I want to say there's like, if you're hairy but you're skinny, I think you're an otter.
Wait, hold on. If
There's
you're
a scale.
hairy but skinny, you're an otter.
Right.
An
And
otter.
then, I don't know what's in between. And then there's like cubs, and then there's bears.
Okay, now what? How would
Sounds
I
like the
be
Boy
described?
Scouts.
Because I'm not particularly hairy. I'm tall, lean. I'm a black dude. Like, so if you're looking for me, what do you got, Ted?
Oh man, I don't know.
No, what do you got? I want to know.
I have no idea, and I'm not going to guess.
Is it an animal?
I don't know.
I think you're a giraffe.
A giraffe.
You're 6'4".
This is a setup if I've ever seen one.
Setup.
Right, what are you going to call me, dude?
Setup.
Yeah.
I do the bear stuff. I stick with that.
Hello, Dave. Welcome to the men's room.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hola.
So, by the way, real quickly, Ted, I need you to watch the damn video.
Ted.
And the documentary I sent you.
Oh, okay. He's on that.
I sent it to you guys as well. It's actually very interesting. It's probably all before you guys were born, but it's a good documentary that my buddy put together, in addition to the one Headstrong that I sent you as well. You could check that on YouTube.
I think we got blocked on the server because of the title.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I used to drive a limousine down in the Bay Area when I was down there. And, I was getting paid good money to go to Calistoga to pick up Joe Montana and take him down to Foster City for a signing.
Was this a regular gig?
Not a regular gig, but because I had the education level I had and was professional, I got a lot of the good gigs. So
okay.
I also drove, Dianne Feinstein's daughter to her wedding. Rick Springsteen to Oracle Arena in Oakland for a concert.
Was Rick Springsteen having sex in the back of the car?
You mean Rick Springfield?
Springfield, yeah. Springfield, sorry, Chief.
Rick Springsteen?
No, it was Rick Springsteen.
No, there's either Bruce Springsteen or Rick Springfield.
Or you didn't drive anyone.
One guy was on General Hospital. The other guy's the boss.
Okay, no, I was driving the boss.
Okay. All right. That's we had Rick Springfield in here. He was a very good guy. I think the boss is probably a bigger deal. Okay.
Yeah.
How much did you get paid for this stuff normally? Was it hourly?
Yeah, but the tips were already included in the cost of the vehicle. So on the weekends, especially.
Yeah. What was the dollar amount?
I'm pulling down, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm pulling down $1,200 a day.
That's good.
Damn.
That's really good.
I'll take it.
With that, you're not going to work Monday or Tuesday because it's a limo thing, and there's nothing really going on.
By the way, how would I be described on your...
As an animal?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
As a sexual animal.
Well, one says Steve is definitely a panther. All right. And someone else says the praying mantis.
A praying mantis.
And someone else says they would pay $20 for me to play some bass naked on OnlyFans.
But you wouldn't be able to see anything because the bass would cover your junk.
I can move it up higher, like
Oh, you want to play real high like that?
Yeah, I'll play nerdy bass so you can see my slong.
That's how white guys play, way up here on their chest.
Called white session play.
Exactly.
You could literally slap the bass.
Good or bad, one time I made blank doing blank. You are listening to The Men's Room.
It's all wins and no losses with new exclusive stations by Odyssey. Discover rock and music stations made for sports fans just like you. Crank up the good times with Tailgate Rock. Get ready for the big game with Troy Hughes Stadium anthems. Or get game ready with tunes from all your country faves on Tailgate Crashers. There are hundreds of new music stations to check out today, from classic rock to today's country and more. For every mood, every interest, every passion, by Odyssey. Listen now with the Odyssey app.
If your tank water heater's over 8 years old, you may be sitting on a ticking time bomb. It could start leaking without warning, causing far more damage than the loss of the heater itself. Consider replacing it with a Navien tankless water heater. No storage tank to leak, endless hot water for spa-like comfort, longer life, and backed by Navien's strong warranty. Before time runs out, visit tanklessmadesimple.com for the name of your Navien contractor.
Count on Navien.
You're in the men's room. 99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle.
Good or bad, one time I made blank doing blank, our men's room blank question. And as baseball season is now underway, thank God for that, people wondered, I guess a few said, look, man, if you went back in time and you looked at some of the salaries of some of the all-time great baseball players, going all the way back to Cy Young, Babe Ruth, up and through the Hank Aaron years, Mickey Mantle, what would they be making today? And we all know one thing for a fact. As far as professional sports are concerned, baseball is the cream of the crop as far as the salary.
I think baseball and NBA. They can be argued that they do quite well for themselves.
Exactly. And you know this.
Baseball, though, is just awesome. Because everything's guaranteed.
Right, guaranteed. What they say is what it is that you get.
A couple of weeks ago, I was scrolling through the PI or something, and they had Felix Hernandez. His home is for sale. I don't know where this thing is. It must be on Lake Washington or something. But this thing is unbelievable. It's like so many $1 million, like $10 million there. I'm looking through this like, oh, my God. You know what I mean? Like baseball players make a lot of money. And I'd say that as far as baseball players concerned in Seattle go, I mean, previous years have had players that had high salaries. Robinson Cano probably made a lot of money, but nobody like King Felix.
Right.
Ichiro probably made some money, but they went back and they looked at some of the salaries. So let's start with Nolan Ryan. You know Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan, I want to say when he was 47, 89 years old, he beat up somebody who charged the mound. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
Yeah,
but he
I
was
remember that.
way up there in age, and he beat the hell out of some 22-year-old
What's his name?
kid.
The something Express? Fastball Express? Or?
He threw heat. But in 1980, he made $1 million. That was a lot of money. Now, if Nolan Ryan were playing today, when compared to Steven Strasburg, he'd be making $35.7 million.
Nolan Ryan's nickname was the Ryan Express.
The Ryan Express.
Oh, right. Okay. It's right there in the name.
Lou Gehrig played baseball way back in 1939. He made $39,000 a year, which I'm sure was a lot of money back there. But if you look at Albert Pujols, he would be making $37.6 million this year playing baseball.
And instead, he just got a disease named after him.
Okay. Let's look at someone like Barry Bonds, 2005. That was his year, right? He made $20 million that year. Barry Bonds, $20 million. When compared to Will Myers, this year he would be making about $38.4 million.
Okay.
We go higher. Joe DiMaggio, in 1950 he made $100,000. When compared to Jonas Cespedes. Jopinas Cespedes. He'd be making $40.5 million. It goes higher. Stan Musial made $100,000 in 1957. Compared to Miguel Cabrera, he'd be making $50.2 million right now. $50.2 million a year. And it goes on and on and on. You said Cy Young, 1901, he made $3,000. He'd be making $35.5 million. And I guess as far as the biggest one, that would be Walter Johnson. In 1914, he made $17,500. Numbers-wise, when you compare it to Garrett Cole, he would be making $53.4 million a year.
Damn.
So good or bad, one time I made blank doing blank, 206-421-ROCK.
Few comments here. Someone says, I used to mow the neighbor girl's yard in college, and she would do my laundry in exchange. They say, best deal I ever made. Can't argue that, man. So, when you're younger, dude, the idea of doing laundry just sucked. Someone else says, I made $10,000 driving a car from Kansas to Texas, leaving it in a parking lot, picking up another car, and driving back to my original location. Gas cans are in the trunk, no stopping. Didn't know the guy that asked me to do it. Never saw him again. The car, as far as I knew, completely empty, except for the gas cans in the trunk.
That's a weird way to travel, though. Like, you need to get that thing there so fast, you're going to put the gas cans in the trunk?
Hey, I would, for $10,000, I absolutely would have taken that.
Okay.
And then someone else, and look, I don't know the statute of limitations. Someone told me there's a statute of limitations on kidnapping. Not supposed to be. I was told 7 years. And me and my co-conspirator who had kidnapped someone, we kept our mouth shut for about 10.
Sure.
And then opened up, told the story, and then I found out, like, there's no statute of limitations on that. But I've already incriminated myself. What are you going to do? So this guy says, statute of limitations is up, bitches. But one day I made $100,000 bringing some pot from Canada in my boat.
Ooh, wow. You made $100,000.
Made $100,000.
Oh, my God.
I mean, listen, feds, honestly, man, like, that's some good scratch. Couldn't you cut a brother some slack? Like, look, I know it's illegal, guys, but it's $100,000. I own a boat, and my boy Jeff said, just pick it up from this guy Slick Eddie. I did, and here I am.
I had one guy who lived across the street from me. He had a couple different gigs. He had a extermination business, and he also had a used car lot. So he hired me to do extermination stuff with him, and that was awful because basically all I did was take a drill bit and drill it in to the bottom of houses all the way around the perimeter for termites.
Right.
And I mean, that job, you'd sweat. I mean, you go through drill bit after drill bit, trying to, dry and going through like cinder blocks and all that crap. That was the worst job ever for the money. I think he gave me $5 an hour. And I mean, when you're on your knees and you're bent over all day and you're using a drill like that, man, it wears you the hell out.
You think that's the worst?
It was the worst for the money as far as the physical activity involved. But he did go to the auto auction every Wednesday night and it was either Saturday evening, afternoon, or Sunday. And that was cool because we would take a car back to the auto. It was like a 2.5-hour drive. It's a Mason-Dixon auto auction, which I think is a little bit near Hagerstown. So it's a couple hour drive for us. We would drive and mostly auction stuff from D.C. and Baltimore. So we would drive there, and it was $100. You got $50 to drive a car. You got $50 to drive whatever car back. I'm driving different cars all the time. I'm driving trucks. I'm 16, 17 years old.
And that'd be awesome.
Like, I'm like, get the Mazda RX-7. I want to drive that back. You end up with like a Honda Civic or some crap.
Sure.
But either way, that was an easy $100. It was all day. It was like an all-day thing. 2 hours there, 2 hours back. You spend probably 4 or 5 hours.
But at that age,
the
man,
auction.
that's not bad.
No, it was great.
It's like the easiest money at Chi-Chi. Now, when I worked at Chi-Chi's, I got $5 an hour on the dishwasher. But they would probably once every 3 or 4 months, they'd throw me $200 cash, lock yourself in overnight, and just repaint the inside of the restaurant. Just to keep this was a national chain. They did not hire professional painters to paint the inside of the restaurant.
That's crazy.
But they throw me. It never really occurred to me then, but as I'm saying it out loud now, like, wait, this is Chi-Chi. Anyway.
Well, I mean,
they would throw
the individual owner of a, quote, chain.
This was not individual owner.
Oh, so it was the whole deal.
Right. Chi-Chi's was owned by Chi-Chi's, and then you had regional managers, blah, 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 but no one owned it except Yum Yum brand or whoever the hell the parent company was. But they locked me in overnight, man, $200, and all I had to do was repaint the dining room. There were 2 dining rooms and then the bar. And Chi-Chi's had like those horrible like shades, somewhere between yellow and white. It was bright but ugly.
Yeah.
It's like if you put a flashlight behind an English person's teeth, like that's bright, but I'm not quite sure what shade that is. And then there was turquoise in the opening dining room. Jesus Christ. And then bright orange in the bar. And it locked me in overnight, man, like from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., $200 cash. That was the easiest money I made. The easiest money I made.
Yeah.
I would do that now. If Chi-Chi's were still around and they said, hey, man,
hey, look,
$200, lock you in overnight. You know what I mean?
There's something very therapeutic sometimes.
Yes, there's a lot of weed.
When you get into painting, though, if you're painting a room or whatever.
Well, I did it one night with a guy named Bob. I worked with Bob at like 4 different restaurants. Bob was like, he's the guy that we call Stuart Stewart. He's that guy, man. And I don't know what kind of weed he had at this time, but I mean, my mind was blown, man. And I just remember finding Bob in the dining room. It's the first time he's helping me. And he's standing there with his paint roller in his hand. He's looking at the wall. His mouth is hanging open like he sees the biggest spider or something. So I kind of walk in to see what the problem is. There wasn't no problem. Bob was just that high.
He was just stuck.
Literally, he was just stuck in Highland with his mouth hanging open. But, again, $200 cash, man, at that time, you're young, still got my first place. How much was rent in your first place? I had to pay $120 a month. And I couldn't believe
mine was $125.
I made ends meet.
The death room was $150.
You paid $150 to live in a basement where 2 people on 2 separate occasions died?
Yeah.
Man.
And did you get any help from your parents on that, or did you have to keep a job to be able to pay your rent?
I had 2 jobs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't. I mean, $150 when you're making $5 an hour, $6 an hour. It takes a while.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I will say that one of the best. I was still working at Chi-Chi's, and then I picked up a second job as a bar back at a place called Palos. I think it was like this old pizza place. It's a tourist trap in Baltimore. And to me, I'm like, okay, this is the money, all right? So dishwasher, you're just hot. It's nasty. There's dishes everywhere. Bar back, you're behind the bar. It's pretty clean, right? It's waterfront view. The customers are pretty decent. But when the bartenders cash you out at the end of your shift, I mean, it's all cash. And I always liked when I made enough cash from the bartenders that when you got your check, it just said void because it paid you like $2.30 an hour or something like that. I had more cash on me at that time than any other point in my life because I'd never had time to spend it. So I did this for like 3 months, man. I mean, just burned myself out. Ended up dropping the Chi-Chi's gig, kept the bar backing gig, but all that money that I was not spending for those months, probably blew it in like a week.
I worked a door in Georgetown, D.C., right? Which is a super old neighborhood. So the bar was like an old row house. Mm-hmm. So all the liquor and stuff was down in the basement. And then there was like, what was there, 1, 2, 3 floors maybe? All right, so there was one floor was like kind of the restaurant bar. And then upstairs, there was 2 separate rooms, right? So at the end of the night, like they had to tip out the door guys. But some of the bartenders would just get very lazy and be like, do you want to make some extra cash? Like, how many, you want me to go get all the beer?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So like, right, they'd throw you an extra 50 and you just go up and down. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I could do 3 cases up and down those flights.
Wow. Really? That's not bad, man.
Yeah, with my short little arms. But I mean, you're like 19. Who cares?
Sure, you got the energy.
You're 19 working at a bar. So I am so excited to be done to get my 2 shift beers.
Oh, yeah. That is huge.
Good or bad, one time I made blank doing blank. 206-421-ROCK.
By the way, someone chimes in. It says, my first one-bedroom apartment was... So you pay $150, Ted. I drop $120. Miles, you were dropping $125.
$125.
$950 a month.
That person's way younger than us.
Yes.
Way younger, and I don't know what you do for like that is impossible that I could have afforded that. Like,
well, and also I got to say this, like an apartment's different, right?
Right.
Like the death room was in the bottom of a room in a place. So that was $150. But I mean, if I'm going to say my first apartment, yeah, it was probably like that, like $900.
Really? My first apartment was $325 a month, and it was exactly as nice as $325 a month sounds. But it was all right, man.
Yeah.
It was a.
How many people did you live with?
Just one other, my buddy Leon. And the neighborhood was S, but the apartment itself wasn't so bad. We were there for a little less than a year, but I do remember coming home. All of our doors are open, and our stereo and TV were gone.
Oh, really?
It's a fantastic time. And me and Leon, we kept it together the way we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People who work full-time minimum jobs, wage jobs, cannot afford a fair market two-bedroom rental home in any state in the United States. That is according to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition's Out of Reach report.
Even like Arkansas?
That is correct. The coalition said
everybody should be able to afford to live in Arkansas. Look, you don't want to live in Arkansas. And if you're from Arkansas, I would apologize, but you know this to be I can't believe you could not afford to live in Arkansas.
Coalition said that to afford a housing wage, hourly full-time workers must spend no more than 30% of their income on fair market rentals, as defined by the Department of Housing, Urban Development. Report takes into account that some states pay more than the federal minimum wage, which is, what is the federal minimum wage?
I have
no idea. It's not 15?
No, that's our states.
$11.75.
$7.25
Jesus Christ.
The report found the average minimum wage worker in the United States would need to work nearly 97 hours per week to afford a two-bedroom rental home. That is more than 2 full-time jobs. The coalition said that if you assume someone sleeps 8 hours a day, that leaves 2.5 hours a day for everything else, including commuting, cooking, cleaning, self-care, and caring for your family. It would take 79 hours per week to afford a one-bedroom rental home at fair market rent.
How many hours a night do you think you get on average?
As far as sleep goes?
Yeah, and I know they always say 8.
7 to 8.
Yeah, I do 6 pretty much every night.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't imagine 8 hours of sleep.
I love sleep. I mean,
I
sleep
like
longer,
to sleep, but it's just I don't know. If I get too much sleep, I'm just a wreck. Anything over 8 hours, I'm not functional after that.
That's weird. Last night as I was laying in bed, I was like, man, I love sleeping.
This is my favorite thing.
I'm just saying, as far as hobbies go.
Yeah.
I mean, I like being tired and being in bed. I can't say I like sleeping because when I'm sleeping, like I miss the joy of it. Because I'm asleep. You know what I mean? Like when I'm going to bed, when I'm just super tired, I've taken care of whatever the last thing is I have to do before I climb into bed. Like that moment is awesome.
I don't know until I wake up if it was a good one or not.
You know, you're not going to know.
It's like you wake up and you go, that was a terrible night's sleep.
Right.
But you don't know. In the middle of it, you're just like dreaming or whatever.
You don't, but I just, to me, like today's Friday, right?
Sure.
Or like the idea.
Positive Friday.
The idea of laying in bed and knowing, like, I don't have to get up
at all.
Right. Not that I'm going to sleep all day on Saturday.
But just
me,
the option.
Yeah, just the option, right? Like, alarm my ass.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I will say that the sleep.
Which means I'll get up much earlier for no good reason.
Exactly.
The sleep that makes you the angriest is and you can't predict when it's going to happen. Some nights you just kind of know how you're going to sleep, or at least how you're going to feel the next morning. I don't think there's anything worse than those sleeps where you're pretty sure you just close your eyes and it is the next day.
Mm-hmm. Or the
you know
worst
what I mean?
is,
like you go to bed on say a Wednesday night, you feel like you blinked, but in the time it takes to open your eyes, it is now Thursday day. The kids are up and you got to go. You're like, what the hell happened?
The worst is when you don't get a good night's sleep at all, and then by about 4 or 5 o'clock, you finally really get to sleep, and then you got to get up at like 7:30.
Oh, of course.
So you only got your good night's sleep for like 2.5 hours.
I would tell, and this is the one thing I do when you have those nights where you just cannot fall asleep and you start getting frustrated, right?
Oh, yeah.
It happens to everybody, right? Like now you're actively getting angry that you can't fall asleep. You start thinking about time. Do not look at the clock. About a year ago, I figured that out. Just do not lift your head. Ignore the temptation to see what time it is, because I promise you one thing. You're going to be angrier when you see the time than you were when you weren't looking at it.
No, you're right. I do it all the time when I can't. I asked Mike, I said earlier this week, I was tired, just couldn't fall asleep. But every half an hour, I'm like, just lost another half an hour.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I stopped looking. Like, just
Men's
don't do
room
it.
blank question. Good or bad? One time I made blank doing blank. 206-421-ROCK.
Guess I'll go pee.
Fine, I'll pee now. Hello, Casey. Welcome to the men's room.
Hello.
Hola.
Hola. Liquor and whores.
Liquor and whores.
My wife and I made the equivalent of between $50 and $60 being the victim of credit card fraud. It was 2 years ago when Costco called and said, "Hey, did you order up a dozen laptops?" We're like, "No,
right."
We didn't. So we got on the internet, looked at our credit card stuff. Sure enough, there's a bunch of laptops that got sent to Centralia. Yet they shipped a condolence basket to our house that had a bunch of Miss Fields cookies and flowers and a little stuffed bear that said something like "I'm sorry" or something on it. So
you're kidding me.
So yeah, they kept the computers, the criminals, and yet they shipped us the condolence basket. Kind of, "Hey, I'm sorry we stole your credit card number, but here you go."
Now, were you off the hook for the cost of the computers?
Costco did the right thing. We talked to Costco. They said, "Yeah, sure enough, we're going to reduce we'll take off all those charges for the computers, and you can keep the food basket of cookies because they can't take food back, of course."
All right.
So,
Yeah,
Wait a minute. You're telling me Costco would have taken it back, but their policy is that we can't take back food.
they can't take back food. Yeah.
They sent you a gas grill or something. You got to return it.
So we got to eat all the cookies, and we have a little stuffed bear that says "I'm sorry."
You still have that then?
Yeah, it's around somewhere.
I wonder if they ever caught the guys who did the credit card fraud.
No, it was I don't think they typically look unless it's something really big.
Mm-hmm. It's probably a school just trying to take care of their students. There's no way they can afford a computer.
Yeah, right.
It's gonna have to steal somebody's credit.
Have all the kids sign the card. We're so sorry.
Who sends a gift basket after they rip somebody off?
Well, the caring kind, Miles.
Yeah, I guess so.
How embarrassing would it be, though, if Costco called you and be like, "Did you just order like a dozen orders of king crabs?" And like,
yeah,
I did.
Yeah, I did.
Do you judge a credit card thiefdom based on their purchase?
The last time it happened to me was years ago, but it was pretty simple to figure out. They went to Foot Locker and it's been so long. Victoria's Secret.
Oh, all right. So
a little something for him, a little something for her.
You know what I mean? Like it kind of softens the blow a little bit.
Yeah, it was like he's getting some new shoes and getting his girl some stuff.
Depending where they go, sure.
There was when mine last
the gas
time,
card. Like if you just use it on gas,
that pisses
me off,
and it's quick.
See, that pisses me off. But like the folks who had a wonderful night of bowling.
You kind of get it
in Texas. The last people who stole my credit card, it was like they paid for all the bowling, and then there was a separate charge for all the food at the bowling alley restaurant.
Two separate experiences there,
so I know
Miles.
they got some
and
French
you
fries.
paid for both.
I probably got a pizza.
Did you get
an
itemized list of what it is they ordered?
No, but when we were going through the transactions, the guy was like, "Yes, this is the restaurant of the bowling alley place, and then this is the bowling alley."
Did you look at the menu?
And then there was one other thing, like you know what I mean? Like I can't, but I was like, you know what, man. It was like $18.
But now
then
wait.
They went and bought something else online, and that's how they got busted.
Are these the same people that didn't somebody book a flight somewhere in Canada?
Oh yeah, I had that happen to me too, many times. Canada for some reason, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on up there.
Oh, that was separate.
Oh yeah, I've been ripped off. Not ripped off. I've always gotten that money back.
Sure.
It just takes them a while to go through that process for you to get your money back, which is not good because if you go, in one case it was like a $500 charge on an airplane ticket. Well, I only had like $300 in my account, but it went through. So it's putting me at minus 200. So then they got to go through this process of, you know what I mean? Like now I'm in overdraft. So now I'm $35 because I don't have overdraft protection. And then I couldn't get that money until they verified it, said it was fraudulent. This takes about a week. You know what I mean? So now I'm just like sitting there. Now I'm getting these charges. And I'm like, dude, you can't give me the charges. Like, well, you overdrafted. Like, I didn't overdraft. We're going through this with a fraudulent department. You know what I mean?
The one thing I don't understand about banks, and God bless my bank, I've had them for years and years and years, and they're pretty good. I spent a week in Mexico. I am withdrawing cash from ATMs. I'm putting down dinners and all this. I get back to the States. I get back to Seattle. The first time I go to withdraw, it says we can't because we believe your card is fraudulent. Mm-hmm. So I had to call them and say, "Why is my card fraudulent?" They said, "Because someone in Seattle." I'm like, "God damn it, I live in Seattle."
Right.
For a week in Mexico, nothing flagged you. But in the city I've lived in for 15 years, that's okay.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I don't, in this pro tip, man, if you have overdraft protection, what that means is the checking account, if you go under, will take money out of your savings account and put that in there. Now, if a thief gets a hold of your card, that means they have access now to your checking and your savings account, and they can drain whatever you got in there. So you got to be careful on that too. Good or bad? One time I made blank doing blank. 206-421-ROCK.
Hi, I'm Jason Concepcion, sports writer, cultural critic, and host of Crooked Media's podcast, Take Line. Each week, I'm joined by two-time WNBA champion and Atlanta Dream co-owner Renee Montgomery for smart discussions about sports, culture, and the ways they intersect. Our show is by sports people for everybody. New episodes of Take Line drop every Tuesday. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.